Go for a
Winter,
nice
shield me.
AoE help for the boys. I'm doing 20k DPS. Oh, that's 25k DPS. We love that. $34k. $34k. Well, that was a meteor. Oh my god. When that thing procs, everything melts. Womp. Okay. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and today I have a Rime build for you that makes her look exceptionally overtuned. I played a bunch of Mara to start, and I was feeling like I was getting turbo-gapped on the DPS meter by Rime players. And now, after playing her, yeah, it's not even remotely fucking close. Rime is either overtuned or Mara is undertuned, because the DPS I can put out with this character is so much higher. And with Mara, my hands literally hurt trying to do the rotation correctly because you're pressing so much shit all the time. Whereas with Rime, we're just chilling and absolutely ruining everything. So, let me explain the build and showcase how it works. This is the setup that I'm running with currently, and I have pulled off crazy numbers. You can actually get even more damage if you want to take a different setup than this. But this is the best one for long pulls and doing longer dungeons, because it means you can spam your cooldowns as much as you want. So, why this is so powerful is Avalanche and Frostweaver's Wrath. Avalanche is the trait that basically breaks Rime entirely. Your Ice Comet has a 15% chance to strike twice, and a 7% chance to strike 3 times. If this triggers, everything dies. If this triggers 3 times, with a guaranteed crit from Frostweaver's Wrath, everything dies. Each time you generate Winter Orbs, you have a 17% chance to gain Frostweaver's Wrath for 12 seconds, causing the next Ice Comet or Glacial Blast that deals damage to have 100% additional crit. But, to make it even better, you can also red crit. Grievous Critical Strike. Any critical strike chance you have beyond 100% causes a Grievous Critical Strike. Grievous Critical Strikes increase the base damage of the hit by an amount equal to the overflowing critical strike chance. So, if you have 100% guaranteed crit on Ice Comet, and you land 3 Ice Comets, yeah, it's pretty funny. So couple that with stacking crit gear for relatively high crit percent, and yeah, she's scary. But it doesn't even end there, because with my weapon combo of running Nature's Fury, which is a weapon that I dropped from Sithral's Fall, I believe it is. It used to be called Sithral's Ascent. This thing is also busted as all hell. It heals like crazy, it damages like crazy, and it has increased crit chance too, which scales even fucking crazier with the increased crit that I have, that I'm building for the Ice Comet build. The reason this is so broken is Rime has an ability called Winter's Blessing, which your spirit is increased by 20%, meaning you'll get more refunds on your Ice Comets, because of course you will. And 30% of all damage you deal is replicated as healing divided equally between allies. So if we pop this on a 60-second cooldown, and we pop Nature's Fury on a 60-second cooldown, yes, they line up because fuck you, you can then do a massive bouncing heal on allies that also does a 38k crit on the target dummy and a 40k crit heal on the ally. This can bounce up to 4 nearby allies and or enemies, but it doesn't do 4 bounces in total. I'm pretty sure this does 8. It does 4 between enemies and then 4 between allies, which is stupidly hilarious. Like I said, now you couple this with Winter's Blessing, and you get healing from the ally healing bounce, and you get healing from the enemy DPS bounce as well. And it's so fucking overtuned, it hits like a freight train. It's disgusting. Like, you just saw 40k crit, I think it was, 38k? So couple that with our little AoE setup here, and we start to just go hog wild. So we have Burst Bolter here, which is when your Frostbolt deals damage to an enemy, it triggers a single pulse of bursting ice and generates 2 anima. Basically, your Frostbolt now does AoE damage, which is hilarious for filler. Because without this, it just feels so fucking underwhelming to cast Frostbolt on AoE. This is like one of her best talents, and it's only 1 point. Avalanche, like I said, is absolutely hilariously busted for 2 points. Frostweaver's Wrath is 3 points, but allows you to Grievous crit with the Ice Comet, and gives you 100% crit chance on the Ice Comet, coupled with, it will also give you 100% crit on the Glacial Blast, which is even funnier for single target, which I'll cover as well. And then Biting Cold increases the power of your critical strikes by 10%, so just 10% crit damage on top of the already crazy crit damage. And then Wisdom of the North. The cooldown of Ice Blitz, Flight of the Navir, and Winter's Blessing is reduced by 0.3 seconds for each Winter Orb you spend, of which you will be spending a shit ton. Now, you can also opt for this setup. This is what I was running beforehand, and this will make you do even more damage, because your Cold Snap grants you Icy Flow for 8 seconds, reducing the cast time of your next Glacial Blast, or the impact delay of your next Ice Comet by 0.5 seconds, meaning you can get higher DPS faster, and it'll also make it so both abilities have 25% increased crit chance when consuming a stack of Icy Flow, which is going to be happening constantly because you're using your Cold Snap, which is basically Ice Lance, all the time to generate an orb, and then after you use the Cold Snap to generate the orb, you're then dumping it into Ice Comet, which means you use it, generate, get the Generate proc, get the Cold Snap proc from Icy Flow, and then dump the Crit Strike and the 100% Crit Strike for a crazy big crit, and everything just disappears. If you could get 1 more talent point, I would run this with Biting Cold and then just fucking melt everything, but I don't think I can until I get to like way higher difficulties. So, this is how much of this I've completed so far. Did the whole track on this side, and then have done some of this track. There's more talent points right here, so if I could get 1 more, I could run that build. There's another one right there as well, which could even let me get these 2 as well, I'm pretty sure, because that'd be another 2 points. So yeah, I could get Icy Flow, and just run that with the entire setup and fucking shitmince everything. So, how does this actually work functionally? Like I said, you build as much crit as possible. Everything else you just kind of throw together, but you go for as much crit chance as you can, and then now we start doing our crazy DPS. So we're going to open every fight with Bursting Ice. This is basically Frost Bomb, and then from there we're going to apply our Flight of the Navir. This is going to make it so that every time I use Freezing Torrent or Cold Snap, these little birds are going to like swoop down and do bonus damage. So then from there, I will pop my ultimate if it's a boss fight, and then I'll spam a shit ton of Glacial Blast, but that's the single target rotation, so I'll cover that in a little bit. But on AoE, I will then do the exact same thing. It is Bursting Ice into Flight of the Navir, Freezing Torrent, and then you clip the Freezing Torrent with a Cold Snap, and then you Ice Comet, Cold Snap, Ice Comet, and if the pack's still alive, it won't be for very long. So I'll show you what that looks like here. Then we Freezing Torrent, and we use our Cold Snap, and then from here you just pop a Frostbolt, you go into a Bursting Ice again, you drop another one, and you go from there. Now at any point in that rotation you can land a double proc, a triple proc, anything along those lines, and then you just fill with the Frostbolt as you go, and that is your standard AoE rotation. You just saw a Grievous crit right there, which absolutely goes crazy. There's the Frostweaver's Wrath that triggered, so that will dump a guaranteed crit missile, which will double crit missile, and yeah, it'll get kind of crazy. So what you can also do if you want really, really high DPS is you combine this with your Branch of the Everliving, which I showed you before, and you use this for full DPS rather than as a save the team moment, even though it's literally able to save a team. I have topped a team instantaneously with Winter's Blessing and Nature's Fury. It is so fucking busted, it's probably going to be tuned down. But let's do that same rotation. I fucked it up already. I am so good at this game. And then from here, we will drop our Ice Comet, do a Frostbolt, drop the Nature's Fury, and we'll drop a shit ton of burst damage, like so. And that's pretty much the Rime rotation. It is literally that easy to do the amount of damage I was doing in some of the showcases that you saw early on. Of course, the DPS will scale based on how many targets you're pulling. So if your tank is pulling a shit ton of stuff, you can get your triple proc Ice Comet and just fucking delete the screen. Now, when it comes to single target, you're going to want to be saving your ulti for the boss 99% of the time. Like I said, though, when you get the talent point at the bottom, Wisdom of the North, you'll be able to get Ice Blitz and Winter's Blessing back from, like, generating and whatnot. So there's going to be a lot of scenarios where you can pop your, like, big cooldown, or pop both big cooldowns while you're, like, pulling trash. Generally, use Flight of the Navir anytime you pull, like, a big trash pack, 60 seconds. While you're generating your orbs, it'll get it down to, like, 40-ish seconds. So you can use this, like, every pack or every other pack, which is always nice. And then you also want to use it on single target, because it's just added bonus damage. So the single target rotation literally looks the exact same, except I'm going to pop my ulti instead. So we're going to Bursting Ice, and then we're going to pop Flight of the Navir, and then we're going to Freezing Torrent, into Cold Snap, into pop my ulti, into slam a shit ton of Glacial Blast with the Ice Blitz. So I'll show you what that looks like here. Pop the Ice Blitz, Freezing Torrent, Cold Snap, ulti, and then we just start dumping. We put a Frostbolt in here and a Bursting Ice. Try and get as much in the window as we can. And like so, we do as much single target as is humanly possible. Throw a Nature's Fury in at the end there, just for a nice big crit and to top the team off. And that is pretty much your single target rotation. Generally, it'll go up to 15k DPS in my current gear on like burst windows. I've done like 15 to 17k on most of the bosses in high contender, like +7, what have you. And yeah, gear-wise, like I said, go for as much crit as humanly possible, because then it will make it so that you can get Grievous crits, and then you stack your crit chance over top of that. If you get all of the talent points and go all the way up to fucking Paragon like an absolute Chad, pick up Icy Flow in here, and that'll give you even more damage for the overflow crits, and you'll be stacking even more crit chance because you'll have higher eye level gear, and you'll be doing even more work. Get some Spirit in there as well, because the Spirit will make it so you can refund the Ice Comets. So then you can just Ice Comet, refund, Ice Comet, refund, Ice Comet, refund. And all of those can trigger the triple proc. So if RNG just favors you, very, very dumb DPS can happen. She's a lot of fun. Still by far my absolute favorite character in Fellowship. Although they apparently have an Archer coming out on full release. I've heard rumors of, so I may have a main come full release. We shall see. Until then, I'm going to see how far I can go with Rime and just absolutely dumpster everything. So, let me know if this build helped you, if you're running anything different, or if you found an even stupider setup. Do let me know, because I want to play it. Take care, fellas.